Welcome to the Central and Eastern European Rotax Max Kart Championship here from the Pannonia-ring in Hungary. We're on to round 2 of the season after starting in Jezelo. We're now over here in Hungary, the circuit that is used for the Gokart team to test their superbikes. We're now on to race 2 for the KZ2 Championship. 717 there, Nico Neumann. We saw him have a problem in race 1. I hope that wasn't an issue there. Maybe he's just testing to make sure everything is okay. He will be starting from the back of the grid despite having pole position last time. In pole position is Alexander Heuser in kart 713. Second, Wislow Saba. In third is Thomas Misick. Fourth, Nagy Istvan, Sebastian Lescotta, Luca Kulnik, Nico Neumann at the back of the grid after his problems in race 1. This is slightly different, as you can see, where we have a standing start for these KZ2 water-cooled 2-stroke 125s with a 6-speed gearbox, and their eyes are up to the lights. And that was a rather messy start there for everybody. I think one of them had to just suddenly slam on the brakes there. I don't know whether we're going to see any penalties applied for that, but I think it probably just about worked itself out. So obviously, as I say, the big one to keep an eye out is that we had a very dominant Alexander Heuser in race 1. Managed to finish by nearly 6 seconds ahead of second place Saba. So what are we going to get from Alexander Heuser this time? What are we going to get from Nico Neumann? Starting from the back of the grid, how far up is he going to be able to get himself? It looked like a very unfortunate issue at the end of the 4th lap, the end of the 5th lap in that previous race. Well, unbelievably, we got Nico Neumann in second already. I was looking, sure that was Nico Neumann, and thinking, surely not. We haven't even completed 1 lap in this 20-lap race, and he's got himself up to second already. Hopefully that's not any kind of issue with the start there. That looked a bit messy for everybody, but I'm pretty certain it wasn't. Oh, and he's going up the inside, and he's made that move already. So he's got himself up into first place on only the 2nd lap. That goes to show how frustrated he will have been with that first race, because he was just chasing down Alexander Heuser in that first race, and suddenly the problem arose. This time no such problems. He's got himself in the lead before even completing the 2nd lap. So unsurprisingly, as he crosses the line, he does have the fastest lap of the race. Well, and we got this Alexander Heuser who's being put under pressure by Thomas Misick by the looks of it. Thomas Misick in the lime green colours there, or bright green really, in the background. 720. He's all over the back of Alexander Heuser. It's really interesting how that works out, considering how dominant he was in that first race, finishing nearly 6 seconds ahead of second place Misick. Sorry, second place Saba. So where's Saba gone? Saba's down to 4th now, so all changed there. It is still the lead being held by Nico Neumann, just disappearing off into the distance somewhat there. But it's not as comfortable for Alexander Heuser this time. He does have the white and green car of Thomas Misick all over the back of him. We've only completed 3 laps in this 20-lap race so far. Perfect conditions today, although we do seem to have a slight reduction in speed on most of the karts in these second races here. But it certainly looks like beautiful. An umbrella up in the background there, not because of rain, but to keep the sun off. That's how lovely it is here in Hungary. As I say, we were in Jezelo in Italy for the previous round, and that started out very wet for that race day, but got drier as the day went on. Next round is next month in July, where we move on to Poznan in Poland, and then finally into Austria in September, I think it is. There's 4 laps completed and a new fastest lap for our leader, Nico Neumann, moving up from 8th to the lead, and then just pulling away from everybody. And it only took him 1 and a bit laps to get up to that position that he would have felt he was pushing for in that first race, until the problem arose. Hopefully it's not going to strike again. So far so good, as he comes around this last little snake bend to complete his 5th lap. So that's quarter race distance in this 20-lap race. And it is still currently Alexander Heuser in that 2nd position. And then Thomas Misick in third. Saba, Vislo Saba in fourth position. In fifth we have Nagai Istvan Armin. And then it's Sebastian Leskoshek. He's currently running in sixth position. And in seventh we have Luka Vojnic-Pudsar. And in eighth at the moment we have Volontaire Balash. I think from memory we saw have a bit of a spin in that first race that put him to the back of the grid. So he's going to be hoping he can pull himself up. He's only 0.1 behind last time around. We'll wait to see because they're just completing their sixth lap. 0.072 behind Sebastian Leskoshek he was that time, so he's hoping to make up one of those positions already. I think that would have pretty much meant they were side by side, and we got a challenge there for second place, but not quite. I thought 720 Thomas Misick was going to make that move on 713 Alexander Heuser, but the door was very firmly closed there, very fairly, but firmly closed, and that has enabled the fourth position man of Vislo Saba to close dramatically in on the back, so it's now become a... Oh, I thought that was going to be a very late lunge there. That was incredible speed he carried into the corner there. Fortunately did get it stopped before colliding with the back of Thomas Misick. So that is 7 laps completed, 13 left to go. Very quick pace, but everybody's going here. At the back we do still have Volontaire Balash is in that 8th position. Now it's 0.198, so he's clearly glued to the back of Leskoshek still. And we've got the change there for that second place. We didn't see it happen, but second place now is Thomas Misick. And in fact Alexander Heuser has got Vislo Saba all over the back of him now, so he was holding off Thomas Misick for a long time. Somewhere off out of shot the move was made. And all of a sudden now, Alexander Heuser is still having to be careful behind him because Vislo Saba has cashed in on the delay that the battle between the two in front of him caused, and he's involved in it well and truly. So 8 laps completed. Our leader is, I think the screen says 4.5 seconds ahead. A little bit difficult to see, but I'm pretty sure it's about 4.5 seconds gap now back to second position. And then, as we know, it's very, very close between second, third and fourth. But does that enable Thomas Misick to pull away slightly? I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see. Thomas Misick did finish third in the first race, but Alexander Heuser obviously won it, as we know, by a margin that he's not able to recreate here. And it's actually going to be bettered. That margin at this rate is probably going to be bettered by Nico Neumann at the front here. Just comfortably cantering off into the distance. He has got into the 43s with the fastest lap, but only just. And the rest of the time it's 44, so it's actually very similar race lap times to what Alexander Heuser was doing in that first race. Remember, he was constantly 44 zeros, slowest 44.2, sometimes 43.8. It was all in that sort of 0.4 gap from fastest to slowest lap times for him. This time he's 44.7 last lap round, although he was past 44.3 this time, so usually off it. But that's half race distance now, 10 laps completed, 5.7 I think that is the gap back to second place now. So Nico Neumann very comfortably leading this race at the moment. Still second, third and fourth very close together. As we say, that the head of that 3-car train now is Thomas Misick. Alexander Heuser is the sandwich in that, and Vislo Saba is just behind, trying to see if he can replicate what Thomas Misick did by sneaking past the Austrian Alexander Heuser. Vislo Saba will definitely want to, because it's his home Grand Prix. The Hungarian's going to want to perform well here. He did start second on the grid, but he's running fourth at the moment, so the start didn't go quite to plan for him at his home Grand Prix. The Austrians showing strongly again with Nico Neumann at the front and Alexander Heuser in second, and it's a Slovakian that's split in the two, Thomas Misick. Now that he's passed Alexander Heuser, is it going to enable him to close in? Well, it doesn't really look like it. In fact, I wouldn't say he's particularly pulling away from Alexander Heuser, is it? Not at the moment, anyway. There's our The leader comes through to complete the 12th lap, 8 laps left to go. On this lovely June day in Hungary. Just effortlessly taking the lines that he wants to take, making sure he's taking the fastest possible route into, through and out the corners, because he's not having to defend, he's not having to try and overtake, so he doesn't have to worry about it. He can just be on the scale-electric rails basically and do whatever he needs to do. He's not banging in the fastest laps of the race or anything at the moment. But we've seen it time and time again, is that if someone builds up a big enough lap early enough, a big enough lead, sorry, early enough, they then take it steady in the middle of the race, or a bit of a bump off the curve, and then they sort of have a bit of fun in the last few laps. So we're going to see that for Nico Neumann, especially as he only got to take part in 4 and well, nearly 5 of the laps in the first race before mechanical gremlins pulled him out. Even more reason for him to want to enjoy himself. So it is still Thomas Missick in that second position. I think the gap back to Alexander Heuser is about half a second from what I can make out from the screen. And in 4th position is still Wisław Saba. The leader now completes 14 laps, nearly at 3/4 race distance. So he's definitely getting there. I think that Missick is just managing to creep away from 3rd position Alexander Heuser now. That shot as they came through the camera there, I think that he is just edging away. Obviously we're understandably looking at the leader there putting in a masterclass, but the real challenge is, well, not so much for 2nd and 3rd, but certainly for 3rd and 4th there. Alexander Heuser is having to be very careful there. Wisław Saba is all over the back of him, trying to get on that podium. There's no question that Alexander Heuser's not going to want to give up that podium after the top step for the first race. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to be on the top step now that Nico Neumann's got himself in the groove and hopefully got rid of those technical gremlins from the first race. He currently has lost out on that 2nd position, and Thomas Missick is just edging away, so at the very least what he's going to want to do is maintain the 3rd step of that podium. 2 podiums, you're always going to be happy with that, let's be honest. So we are at 3/4 race distance, well over 3/4 race distance now. The leader just sweeps it through, comfortably in that lead. Hopefully we'll see in the background the actual battle that's going on for that 3rd and 4th position at some point. It was a 0.3 gap as they went across the line last time. Leader goes through to complete the 16th lap. As we try to see in the background there this battle for 3rd and 4th, but couldn't quite make it out. So I'll try and interpret the screen for you. 0.307, so kind of about the same, but sure enough is that the gap between Thomas Missick and Alexander Heuser was just over a second. So I said it looked like Missick was pulling away, and certainly he has. There he is, Missick pulling away. There is the battle for 3rd and 4th. Probably a slightly bigger gap than we've seen recently, so I expect that to go out a little bit more than the 0.3 unless something untoward happens in the second part of this lap. Leader comes through to complete 17th lap. 3 laps left to go. See on that pan back shot there, it really is a lovely looking circuit and a very challenging but flowing circuit. A couple of tight bits which make it really interesting. We've seen some races so far where you can see different people's strengths and weaknesses. Some really maximise the tight corners. Others seem to really maximise on the sweeping bends and the fast straights, taking that speed onto the straight. What was the gap between... Oh, we've got a change going on there. That's a little bit further back there. I think that was 777. Luka Wojciech-Putzar and Volontaire Balash, Sebastian Lescoche. In fact, I said about Volontaire Balash that he was going to try and move on up through the grid. He is up to 7th position so far, so he's passed Sebastian Lescoche, and his next target is Putzar. So it's Luka Wojciech-Putzar. Is he going to be able to get him? He was 3 behind last time, or this last time they've come through. They are on their penultimate lap now. In fact, no one changed that it is Balázs that has moved himself up to 6th position. So he did make that move on Luka Vojnić-Pucar. Camera did briefly show us that battle was taking shape, and sure enough, Balázs has managed to move himself up. What was the gap between 3rd and 4th last time? Actually, it's out to 0.7, so I think that battle may have run its course, considering we've only got, well, the leader's now gone on to his last lap. There is that battle further down between Volontaire Balázs, Luka Vojnić-Pucar and Sebastian Leskošek. It really is raging. Is that our leader coming through to take the checker flag? Not yet. This is still this battle raging for 6th, 7th, 8th. Very close now that unfortunately it does look like that 3rd, 4th battle has petered out, because it's over a second between the two of them now. I thought that Wislow Czaba was really going to put Alexander Heuser under pressure, but Alexander Heuser's managed to get rid of that toe and just dominate now. And here we go, checkered flag for our victor. Peerless, absolutely peerless, a faultless display. Nico Neumann, what's the gap going to be as we wait for the 2nd place driver to cross? There he is. It is Thomas Misick, and it's a 7.8 second victory. Wow, what a dominant performance there by Nico Neumann. Had to start from the back of the grid after a disappointing race 1, but he's made it count this time. That was absolutely brilliant. 2nd was Alexander Heuser, the victor from the race 1. 4th was Wislow Czaba. 5th, just waiting for more of them to come across the line, but they have all done it now. 5th was Nagy István Armin. 6th was Volontaire Balázs.